Pat, I think this is the first time we've seen you since the Big Ten came out with its 2024 and 2025 future schedule. So, what was your opinion on that? And was it Penn State's position to not have a dedicated opponent? Was that dictated to you guys, or how did that all work out?
Yeah, no, it was. The conference handles all the scheduling. James and I laughed. Well, we really are unrivaled. We say it. I think there was a lot of push and pull. A lot of this has been talked about for a while. Scheduling, as you guys know, I've been pretty passionate about our situation. I will say I think we're in a really good spot with Tony as a commissioner who really dealt with baseball schedule. I've had a lot of conversations about him with him. But no, it's not I think Trev may have said it. It gets to be a little bit of a political thing, a push and pull. But it is what it is. We'll play whoever. We don't get to dictate schedules. That's not, and it should be that way, right? But we'll line up and play anybody and move on. There's nothing we can do about it, right?
You could pick a dedicated rival, though.
I mean, Indiana. Why would I not want to go play my alma mater all the time? That's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, I know everyone talks about the Ohio State game, and I've watched those games, and then obviously last year was a great game in Michigan. You look at the Big Ten now. I mean, every game's going to be a battle. So I know our fans probably would say Ohio State, they want that game, and that's great. And look, at the reality is we're going to play them. I mean, even without divisions, we're going to continue to play them. So I don't want to pick one. If I did, it would be, I want to play my alma mater every year. That'd be great. But I go back to, and James and I both have the same philosophy, like let's go play. If you get caught up, I don't think it was, I'm going to go back to this, like I said, I don't think it's right that we've been on the road. I don't think that. I think that, and that will get addressed. I don't think that's a fair way of scheduling. There was a miscue on that. But when it comes down to how you're going to play, who you're going to play, and when you're going to play, that's not our place. And so we just got to go beat the people in front of us, and no matter who it is.
Pat, as far as
James had some pretty passionate comments about NIL earlier this month, saying to Adam Brenneman that he thought you guys were 2 years behind. Is that the way you read what he said, and are you 2 years behind?
I think I don't think this is such an evolving space. I thought the collectives coming together was a really important piece. Obviously, with the collectives, it's the one thing in our athletes world that we really can't be intimately involved in. But I think that confusion in the marketplace, like anything else, is important that they come together. And to James' point, we have to really continue to educate why this is really important. The way we look at it is, this is the new scholarships. So we've been raising money for scholarships. We'll continue to raise money for scholarships. But the NIL piece is becoming more and more prominent, and it's not just in football. It is now in every sport. And so, James is passionate because I think as we look at where we are, we got to continue to get better at it. But I will say this: I think we are in a much better spot now. You will see this from what I understand. That this is now the Happy Valley United crew and coming together. It's a business, and there's going to be people hired to fundraise. That's what it is, right? And if we're going to continue to be the best, we should have the best collective. I've said that from day one. It's just so fluid. State laws are changing, and so it's a convoluted thing right now. But I think we're behind, but I think we're making up ground fast and at a pretty good clip.
The logical follow-up is, why would other schools be ahead of you guys? What was different in their scenarios from what you guys encountered?
Well, I think if you look nationally, there's just a different perspective towards it, right? And I would say this in the Big Ten too. We at our place, you're trying to educate a fan base that, like, and I've said from the very beginning, the whole thing is just different to all of us, right? You're like, wait, you have a $100,000 BMW? Like, that was like, no, stay away from it. And so just the reality of changing the whole tone and tenor towards this, athletes making money, which we all believe is the right thing to do. And so it's just taken us time to move this battleship to say, no, it's okay. This is okay. And then you got to run the operations of it. Oh, by the way, we all have to run a big department. And you don't know which way to look because the guidelines are all over the place. And so you're like, how do you maneuver this? And so I think that was it. And we did come in, I came in, there was nothing, like nothing. And we really struggled, and the collective was up and running, but now they're sophisticated businesses. and they're outside entities now.
What does the next step look like then to take the next step in NIL from infrastructure standpoint?
So I feel really good about what we're doing, from the education to selling the uniforms to the brand academy and all those things. I feel good. I think I think the collective now, what I'm hearing is that, I think they're supposed to be hiring a CEO and they're hiring fundraisers. I mean, that's really what you got to have, and we've got to continue. And I will say this right now. It's okay to give to the collective. I need you to give to the collective. If that's something you want to do, that's okay. You also can give to scholarships. You can also give to the facilities. But we've got to let that go. This is the real world we're in, and we believe we have a national championship culture. And that's how you have to be able to continue to evolve. It's just like everything else. It was Austin money and all these other things that you got to continue. So I think that piece, which is out of our control, has to get to be a fine-tuned machine.
Pat, as far as the Beaver Stadium renovation goes, has an architect been hired for that yet? And if not, is there a specific timetable for that?
Yeah, so has not been hired. Architect and construction management firms are in the process right now. I would love to be able to tell you, but I can't because they're not under contract. But they are. They're going through it. It should be done, I would think, very, very soon, and then they'll be publicly known. But that stuff that's now starting up. The design. What's the look? What can we do? How do you do it? How do you create the revenue? So that's starting, like we're really literally like starting that, in the weeks coming forward.
Is that timeline still like a year? I think it was a year from
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. It looks as though to stay on track to get it done in the 4-year window, you really gotta, the goal would be to do all the enabling projects like right after this season, the winterization and get the design going and some of the stuff, the pipes and whatnot, and painting the stadium underbelly. And then the next season you will be done with design. You still got to go to the board. You got to do all those steps, but then you're going right after, hopefully the playoff game in 25? Yeah, and then you're off to the races.
What's the reception been like with the Tunnel Club? Where does that stand?
I gotta tell you, it's so funny. I'm glad you asked that. I was like, we just sent an email out, and we're like, well, we don't have very much premium in the building, and so we're trying to find unique ways. We got to continue to create revenue, right? And I think it was like 150 emails in an hour saying they wanted in, and we were like, what? Like, it literally was that fast. There were 30 in 5 minutes. And so they were coming in to tell me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was just an email. So I think we have the first 30 members of the Tunnel Club. That's all you really can fit in there. There's an evolution to it, though. I think we're gonna expand a little bit more to increase the capacity for next season. We'll roll it out. It's still literally under construction. I just saw it rented today. But it's just another thing. It gives access to when the players come walking out. Like having a year here, I understand and appreciate that, being that close to that moment, and I think it's just another opportunity for us to.
So is it then just stay there, watch the game on TV?
No, you could. It's got a bathroom. It's got good Wi-Fi. It's like
the Wi-Fi definitely.
And has a good bartender. So it's all the three essentials. It's a come and go. And our fans really truly love to be in their seats. There's going to be other pieces to it too. So if you want to have it, let's say today you were having like Joseph's birthday, you could use that space. So there's other engagement opportunities with that.
Any other ideas or any other avenues for premium seating in the works or?
Not really. Just for now. But the whole construction project is the majority of that is going to be new opportunities in premium, and that's what we're working through right now. What's that going to look like? But yeah, no, that's honestly, it's silly to do anything at this point when you've got the whole project coming.
Looking back on it, how did the beer sales go? Just from a practical perspective, there was a lot of people worried there's going to be issues, and then from a financial perspective, did it deliver on what you guys hoped?
Yeah, I thought it was really, I'll be honest with you, I thought it went as well as it could. We had to shut it down at times because the concourses just didn't play the way they needed to, right? Like, I'm just going to be honest, like we were trying to see how it would work.
When you say play, what do you mean?
Well, so you would have beer lines, and then they would interfere with the bathroom, and then they would interfere with the food, and so there were moments in like the first quarter, I just shut it down. So we were not focused on the revenue as much as we were, okay, how do we fix this experience to make sure it's good at all levels? We believe we have we've got that. You know, we had consultants come in and help us figure it out. We're going to continue to learn. But the issues with incidents is what we said. It's an amazing, you know, in fact, we tracked, I wish I don't remember off the top of my head right now, but after every game, we talk to police and we get the city engaged and we find out where it's at. But we're going to continue to do it this year. I think we have a better idea. And not that I'm asking for grace, but I had never been in there as a real, I mean, I was in there as a competitor. And so watching the concourses and the flow of that building, you started, every game has its own like energy. The night game versus the 12 o'clock versus the Northwestern rain game. You just have so much different. So we were getting the ebb and flow of it.
So Mike was introduced as baseball coach, I think 2 weeks ago to the date. Obviously you released a statement saying some thoughts on him, but what is, I guess, your relationship with him, and what do you think he's going to bring to this program?
Well, look, I love Mike Gambino. We were close at BC. I think no one really understood or understands what Mike had to do at Boston College. I was the AD there. The lack of resources for that baseball program to compete in the ACC is real. That was real. And he's an incredible teacher. And he's passionate and he loves the game of baseball. And he and Jill and the kids are amazing. I think he's going to be, if you get a chance to get with him, hopefully you will soon, and I mean more. He'll be a great member of the community, and I think we believe we can win. We have to invest. It's no different than our basketball conversation. You have to invest in these sports because you can't just expect to not do what needs to be done, and then you're going to go to Omaha and win the national championship. So how do you strategically make those investments? And that's across the board. But in the case of baseball, you peel the onion, you're like, geez, like, got no shot. But we believe we can win the Big Ten, and we can do it in short order. Now we've just got to put the process in place. I'm very excited for Mike.
Going back to scheduling, I know you said you're not making the schedule for the Big Ten, but what kind of feedback, if anything, you get on not having Ohio State, Michigan on the schedule every year moving forward?
They would run different iterations. I think there's you should ask Kerry Kenny, who does the schedule. They'd run about 1,000 different iterations of schedules. You never know what you were going to get. I mean, I get it. I got it, obviously, before. But it really wasn't that because of the divisions going away. So we just assumed that wasn't going to be the case, that you're going to play Michigan, Ohio State every single year. But it's not, you don't get to, what am I going to say? I don't want to play. You can't do that, right? And so I think it's been interesting to see I think there's a lot of questions to still be answered too. So what about playing? Yeah, we can go to LA, but what time is that kickoff game? That's a real question. I don't have that answer yet. And so, coming from two different conferences and in the meetings, there's real healthy dialogue on scheduling philosophy. What do you want to be? And now with the playoffs, we believe we should plan and try and get 6 teams in the playoff. That's, I think that's what the SEC is trying to do, and that's what we should, So scheduling plays into that. But when it gets down to the nitty gritty, I don't, you're gonna have to play. It's a Big Ten. You gotta play people. It's as long as it's, my big thing is keep it fair, keep it balanced, and if you can do that, and we have that next, man up and mentality. Let's just go play.
You mentioned basketball discussion. How far along are you guys from the first things you wanted to get done? I know there's little maintenance stuff you wanted to do in the building first when Mike Gross got there. But have you been able to move on to a big project yet? And if so, what is it?
Yes and no. So we've sat down and had real discussions about what's the evolution of the basketball practice situation and how we can make it. And we actually last week were walking through, and that process takes a lot of time, just like with all the other facilities we're doing. But it's really good to have Mike's perspective on how he wants the program to grow and what are the needs for, for example, our video room is upstairs, right? That makes no sense. We got to figure that out. It should be closer to the court. And so there's some of those so we're trying to figure out how we move certain things around to be more efficient and effective with the players' time. But it's funny. Last week we literally were over there for 3 hours, just trying to strategize. Okay, and it's funny with all of our facilities. There's different dominoes. You move someone, and then where does that? You fill that gap, right? And then you go. So basketball's no different in working with Keeks and Mike on that. But I do think we can have. I feel good about what we can do. It's just, being very strategic and then the fundraising piece too becomes a real big factor of it. But
Pat,
yeah.
sorry about that.
No.
As an AD, what do you get for the wrestling coach that, in terms of success, has everything? So how do you, what does he ask for? What are you trying to do for him? How do you kind of handle that?
Well, he doesn't ask for anything. I mean, he's the greatest of all time, I think, of any sport.
Right.
And being embedded with him for the two championships, Big Ten and NCAAs. Incredible. That program, you all know way, better than I, but he doesn't ask for anything. I think what you can't do is take it for granted. And if you think you can just sit there and rest on Cale Sanderson, that's absolutely the wrong answer. And I don't know how he was not as supported as some might think, and what he has done is remarkable. I mean, I think we have 4 mats down there. So they've got the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club has to go,
Right.
and they go. I mean,
I just meant in terms of success, not that what he had to work with.
Oh yeah, but that lends itself to it, and I think Cal and I consider him a friend, and I learned from him. I think he's been able to. I get him to like, hey man, we can do this stuff. Don't worry. He's gone as far as like, hey, I'll keep our car conversation to ourselves, but you'd be like, wait, no, you're the best ever. You shouldn't worry about it. And I think it's trying to I look at it no different than our other athletes. Are we feeding our athletes the right way? Because wrestling is a totally different animal. I learned that they're their own little team, one guy, right? So they eat differently, and we have to support that. You can't just. It's like I say to our strength team. You can't do football lifts for field hockey. You can't do football lifts for golf. You have to be if you want to go and win, you got to be very specific in how you handle it. And Cal and by the way, it's Cal, it's that staff, and I think we're working on some stuff for them as well to really help them keep that momentum. I mean, we want to win 20, we want 30 nationally. We don't want to stop. But I think he doesn't ask for anything. It's remarkable. And he's incredibly humble, and he's funny, and the guys are just it's a blessing to have that around. And I try to talk. You need to sit and talk to him because it's remarkable.
As a whole, what's one big takeaway or lesson for you personally you took away from last year's athletic year that you want to take into this year?
Well, I will say I thought it would be 24 months to get us to where I thought we could be. Where I could take a breath. It just came in and I knew, and then I just start to peel the onion and look at it a little bit. We are really powerful. Like if we do it right, look, we won 9 conference championships. We're at 3 Final Fours. Obviously, Cal in the national championship with the guys. 16 teams ranked in the top 25, I think, this year, and we're just getting started. We're just doing certain little investments right now in nutrition and sports medicine and mental health and all those things. When we really get rolling, like I've the Penn State community, the brand, the power of it, there is no ceiling here. It's just I tell them, stop shooting yourself in the foot. Like, just get out of our own way, and we can do it. And I think our athletes are in a place where they're starting to really believe in themselves, and we talk about winning. Like, go win in everything you do, whether you're in the classroom, whether you're socially involved, and everything. Just go win and compete and have a chip on your shoulder. And I think that's what we should be doing, and I'm really excited about that. I do have my eyes wide open to football season. It is a behemoth. It is an incredible experience, but it's a lot. You get 250,000 people in, and it's great. And West Virginia is going to be electric. We got what? No one asked season ticket number. 93,000 plus. 93,000 plus season, almost 94,000 season ticket holders. Just can that marinate? Like, that's incredible. That's all about our fans. That's all about them and their passion for this place. We have 7,000 tickets. I think today they told me for the whole season left in the building. So that's what I've noticed. So if we could just keep grinding and getting there, we haven't even got, we will be really, I think we'll be back to where we were.
You mentioned that number, but is there anything like realistically Wi-Fi wise that fans can expect this year? Any improvements that they will see in the stadium?
Yeah, there will be. We're tweaking on some stuff. I'll have more. We're still moving some things around. So as I said, but we will come out with that shortly. Wi-Fi. When is that? Concourse will be better, and then it's a process. So it's still it's a doozy. I know. I'm trying. But I think we are coming out with there's some things we're working on. Really focused on the families. We're working on a couple different things there, and being able to work through the beer situation to make that flow a little bit smoother, get people in and out of the building, handling the, like I said, living every day with the traffic flow, and now seeing it, and how do you make that work and make it smoother. But I think we're probably a couple weeks away from kind of laying that all out for everybody.
Thank you, Pat.
All right. Thanks.